Pablo Escobar, the most infamous drug lord in the world, became a dark icon of Colombia's violent era during the 1980s and early 1990s. But behind the name lies a story far more complex than any film adaptation. A tale of power, blood, money, and manipulation on a global scale. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born in 1949 in Rio Negro, Antioquia, Colombia. Raised in a middle-class family, Escobar showed remarkable ambition early on. His father was a farmer and his mother a primary school teacher. But this upbringing did little to suppress Escobar's rebellious and cunning nature. As a teenager, he was arrested for stealing beer and robbing gravestones to resell, minor offenses that foreshadowed his criminal future. He began with petty crimes like smuggling cigarettes, stealing cars, and forging documents. But those were just the prelude to becoming the world's most powerful drug trafficker. When Escobar realized the potential of cocaine in the U.S. market, he wasted no time diving into the booming underground industry. Escobar built a financial empire not only through trafficking but by mastering the art of money laundering. He invested in real estate, restaurants, taxi companies, and dozens of shell businesses. The cash was so overwhelming that he buried it in barrels, hid it in farms and warehouses, and reportedly lost millions to mold and rats every year. By establishing routes over sea, air, and even through homemade submarines, Escobar swiftly dominated the U.S. cocaine market. At its height, his Medellin cartel controlled up to 80% of the cocaine entering the United States. The profits soared to tens of millions of dollars per day, and Escobar used that money to bribe, manipulate, and eliminate anyone who stood in his way. What made Escobar particularly dangerous was not just his wealth, but his ability to craft a dual image. A ruthless criminal on one hand and a savior of the poor in Medellin on the other. He built homes, hospitals, soccer fields, and provided financial support to the impoverished, cultivating a Robin Hood persona. The people loved him, they protected him, and more importantly, they kept silent for him. His most iconic mansion, Hacienda Naples, was more than a residence, it was a symbol of his power. It featured a private zoo with hippos, giraffes, and elephants. There was a private runway, a stadium, and even a racetrack. Here he hosted guests, threw lavish parties, and looked down on the world with pride. But Escobar never played within the bounds of the law. He manipulated entire systems. Police, judges, politicians all had a price, and those who couldn't be bought faced his infamous choice: plata o plomo, silver or lead. Take the bribe or take a bullet. One of Escobar's most heinous acts was the 1989 bombing of Avianca Flight 203, killing 107 people, just to assassinate a presidential candidate. This event prompted the CIA and DEA to officially mark him as a top target. Thus began a years-long manhunt. Escobar was believed to be behind numerous high-profile murders, including judges, ministers, top police officials, and journalists who dared expose his empire. Some assassinations happened in broad daylight, leaving Colombian society gripped in constant fear. In Medellin, mere suspicion of police collaboration could be a death sentence. In 1991, under intense international pressure, Escobar proposed a bold deal. He would surrender if allowed to build his own prison. The Colombian government, too fearful to refuse, agreed. La Catedral, the prison, was actually a luxurious hillside estate equipped with satellite phones, a gym, soccer field, and bar. Escobar continued to run his empire, meet associates, and eliminate rivals, all while supposedly incarcerated. However, everything unraveled when he tortured and killed 2 associates inside La Catedral. The government moved to transfer him to a real prison, but Escobar escaped before they arrived. From then on, the hunt intensified. A special task force was formed, the Bloque de Búsqueda, a coalition of Colombian police, DEA, CIA, and military forces. Simultaneously, a new vigilante group emerged, Los Pepes, consisting of victims, former officers, and rivals of Escobar. They used terror tactics in return, burning homes, murdering Escobar's family and allies, and destroying cartel assets. In his final months, Escobar lived like a fugitive. No more mansions, no loyal guards, just a few bodyguards, and constant fear of betrayal. He changed hideouts frequently, lived in decrepit apartments, and trusted no one outside his family. On December 2, 1993, a short phone call to his son betrayed his location. The task force quickly surrounded the building. A gunfight broke out on the rooftop. Escobar was shot dead. A fatal bullet through the head ended his reign of terror. His death didn't bring instant peace to Colombia, but it marked a turning point. The Medellin cartel collapsed. New cartels emerged, particularly the Cali cartel, but none ever matched Escobar's grip on politics and power. Public reaction was deeply divided. The government celebrated, the media rejoiced, yet tens of thousands of people attended his funeral, mourning a man they called protector. For a portion of Medellin's poor, Escobar was not a murderer. He was the one who built their homes, funded their schools, and made them feel heard in an indifferent society. Today, Escobar remains a controversial figure. He appears in countless films, documentaries, games, and even murals. Narco-tourism has become a booming industry in Medellin, but the Colombian government has worked to erase his legacy, fearing that a criminal might become a cultural icon. Some tours have been banned, many sites demolished, yet the story lives on, in memory, on screen, and in whispered tales from the neighborhoods he once ruled. Pablo Escobar was not just a drug lord. He was the embodiment of a failed system, where laws could be bought, violence was glorified, and one man could rule a nation through fear and misplaced faith. More than that, he is a stark reminder of how unchecked power always leads to tragedy, not only for the individual, but for an entire country. His story continues to haunt the world, a clear warning. When the law retreats, evil takes its place. And sometimes, we're not just afraid of what Escobar did, but of how a part of society still remembers him as a hero.